Hello and welcome to today's video about economics versus the environment. And today we're going to look at new thought patterns. So the one we're going to look at is natural capitalism. And the core idea is that all the natural resources of the planet are in effect capital. Like capital, we cannot do things without them. And as we use it up, it's gone and can't be used for something else. So here's a quote from the website that is listed there. Natural capital can be defined as the world's stock of natural assets, which includes geology, rocks, soil, air, water, and all living things, plants, animals, people. It's from this natural capital that humans derive a wide range of services, often called ecosystem services, which make human life possible. The most obvious ecosystem services include the food we eat, the water we drink, and the plant materials that we use for fuel, building materials, and medicine. There are also many less visible ecosystem services, such as the climate regulation and natural flood defenses provided by forests, billions of tons of carbon stored by peatlands, or the pollination of crops by insects. Even less visible are cultural ecosystem services, such as the inspiration we take from wildlife and the natural environment. So, why is natural capital an issue? With financial capital, when we spend too much, we run up debt. If we don't fix it, eventually it will result in bankruptcy. With natural capital, when we draw down too much stock from our natural environment, we also run up a debt which needs to be paid back, for example, by replanting clear-cut forests or allowing aquifers to replenish themselves after we have taken water. If we keep drawing down stocks of natural capital without allowing or encouraging nature to recover, we run the risk of local, regional, or even global ecosystem collapse. And that's the end of the quote. What it says is that if we give nature enough time, it can repair itself. In this case, they are using the example of an aquifer, which is an underground lake of water. But it applies to almost all natural things. For example, soil will recover nutrients if we give it enough time. Air will clean itself in time, and rivers will clean themselves if no new pollutants are added. Fish in the sea will come back if the water is clean and we stop fishing. This is important because in the past, approximately up to the start of the Industrial Revolution in about 1750, it wasn't that humans didn't pollute anything or were extremely environmental conscious. In fact, the opposite is true. All the cities and the rivers that ran through them were filthy, and no one worried about it. Forests were burned. Pigs that roamed around in the villages ate all the tree seedlings, so the forests became smaller. All of these were extremely bad environmental practices. But it didn't matter because the amount of human activity was small and nature had enough time to fix things up and recover. Most of the energy used came from animals or wood, which can be replaced by growing new trees and rearing new animals. So they are sustainable. Some things, of course, just can't be fixed up. If you burn coal, the coal is gone forever. So even then, humans were using up the stock of some natural things. But the amount was so small that it was not a problem. In other words, it was not sustainable forever, but it was sustainable at that level for thousands of years. Using coal as an example, let's say that in 1750 there was enough coal in the ground to continue using it at the 1750 rate for 5,000 years. What happens if we start using twice as much? The number of years it will last will be half as long. So the table shows how this works. In the left column, we have the number of times the 1750 level. And in the right, you can see the effect on what it has and how many years it will last. So as we've already said, 1 times the 1750 level, it will last for 5,000 years. If we double that, then it will only last for 2,500 years. If we triple it, it will only last for 1,666 years, and so on. So we can say that if we use 7 times the amount used in 1750, after 714 years, all the coal in the world will be gone. In 1750, world coal production was 4.7 million metric tons. In 1900, the figure was 363 million, which is approximately 80 times the 1750 figure. In 2016, world coal production was 7,200 million metric tons, which is over 1,530 times the 1750 figure. The 5,000-year figure in the table is not a true figure. It's just a figure made up to show the effect of doubling the amount we use. If the stock of coal was in fact only enough for 5,000 years in 1750, we would have already run out some time ago. This example is not only to show you how it works, but also to give you an idea of just how much more we are using compared with 275 years ago. The figures for how much coal we are using are true. It's over 1,530 times more. Coal is not in any danger of running out. There are very large deposits around the world that are hardly used. And there's probably a lot more that could be found. But the key idea is important. Unless we slow down the rate at which we are using it, it will run out. When we looked at oil, we compared it to a fruit tree. At first, you pick the easy fruit, but when that is gone, bit by bit, it gets harder to get the fruit. Once one tree has no more fruit, you may be able to find other trees, but eventually it will run out. You should note that this is mainly an economic, not an environmental argument. Yes, coal is very dirty, and when you burn it, it causes massive air pollution, which causes all kinds of health, climate, and environmental problems. But even if burning it was completely pure and clean and good for your health, we would eventually run out. Supply of coal may be okay for now, but other important commodities are not. Other industries besides coal have expanded at similar rates. Industrial Revolution era technological improvements in spinning cloth produced 40 times as much as one worker using the old technology and cost less than one worker's annual wages. The amount produced went up by 8 times, and then again by 16 times, and eventually by 200 times. And this is the end, my friend. See you next time.